Okay, let's try this again. Let's give this a second shot. Can you guys hear me better now? I did something. I don't know what I did, but I did something. I'm afraid to touch it. Yes, can you hear? Okay, all right. All right. 30 minutes late is better than not showing up at all. So that's my policy. How's everybody doing? Hey, Ziggy. Hey, AF Lotog. James Mack, Extortion Watchers, AdR81, Rocky Twain. What's up, John Appleseed? Richard, there you go. You fired. Hello, Richard Shoemaker and Richard the Lion. How's everybody doing today on this warm July Saturday evening? We're going to be having some fun today, as always. We are going to be talking about some new topics we have not covered before. Point system is the primary topic here today. Get your thinking caps on. Jamie says, I had to order my driving history for an application recently. 20 years of driving, 0 incidents. Actually, just +5 safe driver points. Very nice, Jamie. Very nice. That's a good driving record. You should have applied to be a CDL, a commercial driver's license driver. You would get hired in a freaking heartbeat. They love people with clean records. Oh, you got the mug and the T-shirt, Richard. That's awesome. Yeah, I do have a store on my YouTube channel. I normally don't advertise it. I just put it out there in case people do want some merch with my stuff on it, my logo, and there's one with my meme face on it. Do I have anyone in Tennessee, John Appleseed? If you talk to, well, they're DUI lawyers, so they can't really do a lawsuit against Nashville PD, the DA office and whatnot, but send me an email. Maybe I can find somebody for you. Did you introduce your son to my channel, Richard? Your 16-year-old son is now hooked on watching my videos. Hello, Chris. Oh, that's cool. All right. 31 years of sobriety constitutes a clean driving record. I would definitely agree. Oh, that's wonderful. It's good to get the family involved. Do I have a favorite lawyer joke? What do you call 10,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? A good start. Nobody likes lawyers. Oh, goodness. It's not. It's just one that came to mind. I don't know if it's one of my favorites or not. Yeah, I'm growing the hair out. People have been telling me, they've been complimenting me, including you guys. You've been complimenting me on the hair, so I'm like, you know what? Might as well. I'm just gonna grow it out. I'm gonna. It's quarantine anyway. I'm not in the military, so I don't need to like cut it. And I miss my long hair. I used to have long hair all the time. It's a pain in the butt to take care of it. But yeah, I'm gonna shave this probably here in the next couple of days. I was gonna shave earlier today, but I think I kind of look better with the beard on stream. People like lawyers that get them off. Absolutely, Ziggy. If you have a record for winning cases, then people are going to want to hire you. Absolutely. I do watch Better Call Saul. I love that show, and I'm not going to be wearing a man bun, James. That's not my style. So let's review what do we have going on so far. 9 million views. I had to take a video down. So I lost like, I don't know, maybe 400,000 views with that video because it was not meeting the standards of YouTube. I may re-upload it later. I haven't decided yet. So I took it down. So I lost some views there. But we're finally, I would have been at like almost 10 million views now, which is incredible. I can't wait to hit that mark. But I would have been at about 9.5. Now I'm at 9 million views, which is still incredible. I'm in awe as to how quickly this is moving. I think 7 million of that is like within the last year. So like 80% of the viewership. Then again, I've only started really being active on this channel in February of last year. So that really makes a lot of sense. So we're almost at 10 million views. We just hit 34,000 subscribers. I had 33 like 3 days ago. A couple of my videos, I think, have gone a little bit viral or whatever the hell you call it. The YouTube algorithm, the algorithm gods have picked up a couple of my videos and they have been making rounds. And a lot of people have been indulging and watching my videos that have not been introduced to my content before. So YouTube has been spoon feeding my videos to all these people, and I was getting some really good viewership. It's really cool to watch when that happens, because I haven't been able to post any new videos, unfortunately, because I mean, COVID. The courtrooms are closed. We're not even all the hearing. We are doing hearings. The courtrooms are open for certain cases, and we are doing we are appearing on these cases, but we're doing it all virtually. We're appearing via Zoom, via Skype, and most of it is done by my associates. I just stick to hearings and jury trials, but they even do some of the hearings now, which is really nice. And my job essentially is, CEO, run the firm and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, until jury trials resume August 1st, unless the Kentucky Supreme Court is going to change and extend that date, which I hope to dear God that they're not. I'm ready to get back in the hot seat. And I have clients who just have been waiting for so long. I mean, we had a case, you guys may remember this. We had a case that was originally set for trial February 28th. And it is now set for like August 24th. I mean, he's literally and he's been waiting for the jury trial beforehand on top of everything. So not only that, now he got another nearly 6-month extension, an involuntary extension on his jury trial because of COVID. So it's very unfortunate. And yeah, my new job is to promote my law firm on YouTube. I've been doing that, Ray, for the last, year and a half that I've been doing this. So it is part of the job is to kind of promote my work, but it's also to teach you guys what it's like to be in a courtroom and how to do an effective cross-examination of a police officer. So that's primarily what this is for. And then, of course, if you're a potential client and you're doing your research online and you find my channel and then you call me, you already know what you're walking into. This guy knows how to do it because he's done it. There it is. It's on the internet. I've watched it, blah, blah, blah. Not many lawyers can say that. So I think it's an effective tool. So we're gonna keep growing. We're gonna keep showing. We're gonna keep recording, and we're gonna keep posting new videos as soon as jury trials resume. Which again, barring some decision from the Supreme Court, is going to be in 3 weeks, August 1st. It does fall on a Saturday. It's actually exactly 3 weeks from today. Does fall on a Saturday, so August 3rd, I guess, would be the first day of jury trials, since we don't hold trials on the weekends. It's going to be we're going to hold a jury trial on starting on Monday, August 3rd. Now, I do know that federal courts have been holding some federal courts have been holding jury trials. I know Oregon has been holding jury trials for a while now. And there have been some very interesting constitutional arguments that public defenders have had to make, because they're the ones usually in the trenches doing most of the jury trial work. And Oregon is no different. And they had arguments. They were looking at case law, and most of it was not very useful. Unfortunately, for them. I don't remember exactly what the arguments were, but essentially the issues that they were having was people were in the jury pool and they were wearing masks, pursuant to the governor's order, presumably, or pursuant to their own desire to avoid any potential health risk in contracting COVID-19. Well, the problem is when you're wearing a mask and you're answering questions from counsel, the other person can't really tell if you're telling the truth, if you're being honest, because half of your face is covered, and you can't see reactions, you can't see facial reactions, you can't see little nuances and changes in the face. So that's really unfortunate, and that's really annoying. So I completely empathize with them, and I hope that they've been able to find a way to get these masks at least temporarily removed while in the courtroom setting, which is not an easy task. Because even if they do abide by the social distancing, keeping people 6 feet apart, and holding the trial that way, I mean, some people will simply say, I would like to be excused from jury duty because I'm of the high risk category, and I would like to be excused from jury duty because I don't feel comfortable removing my mask around these other individuals who are also all going to be removing their masks as they're answering questions. As far as I know, these public defenders have been losing these arguments, and the judges simply overruled the objection and sustained the Commonwealth's argument that these masks do not inhibit justice, which is complete horseshit. Yes, they do. It's just that the prosecutor found another way of screwing the defense and our clients over by not administering justice, by having these masks, which again, are they I don't know, Oregon laws, what the governor is doing over there, to be honest. But when I saw that article, I felt so bad, because that's going to be me in 3 weeks, where I'm going to have to start probably going through the same ringer. I'm going to have the same issue. It's going to be very interesting as to how, and different judges in different jurisdictions are going to be doing different things on top of everything. So this adds another layer of confusion for everybody, and it's just going to be crazy and well, interesting to say the least. Definitely going to have to come up with some novel arguments and figuring out the new post COVID-19 game as we go along. No problem, Donna. Donna says, thank you for standing up for us innocents and idiots. It's okay. Part of the job, Donna. You're welcome. So everyone, welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Larry Forman. I'm also known as the DUI guy here in Louisville, Kentucky. That's where I practice. I run the law firm of Forman and Associates. We have 4 lawyers in the firm, and I did have to relieve a couple of employees temporarily, unfortunately, but I think we're at about maybe 11 or 12 employees at my firm. So we have shrunk a little bit because of COVID, but hopefully we'll start growing back up. once things settle down over the next few months. So today, the topic is points. The topic is the point system. In a nutshell, we're going to be talking about driving laws. And particularly, I'm going to be using the model that we have here in Kentucky. But you're more than welcome to pitch in if you have links to your own state. I know you can't post links on there, but if you want me to talk about another state, I'm happy to indulge if I can find it, time permitting, because this is going to be a fairly straightforward, I think, fairly simple topic to cover. And essentially, it involves obviously your license and what you are allowed and not allowed to get points wise when it comes to driving. Hello, Thomas. So how does the Kentucky point system work? If you're under the age of 18, okay, so the point system is divided into two camps. You have the under 18s and then you have the over 18s. So essentially, if you're under 18, you're driving on a permit or you're driving on a restricted license or what we call an intermediary license or intermediate license, I think is the proper nomenclature. And you're only permitted to have 7 points. Okay, we'll get to how you accumulate those points, but let's just talk about the points. You do not want to be accumulating points. Like, you want to be at 0. Okay, I know some states that you start with a certain number of points and then they deduct them. When you get to 0, that's when you get the letter from the Department of Transportation or Department of Motor Vehicles or whatever. But in Kentucky, you start at 0 and then you accumulate. So if you accumulate 7 or more points, or let's back up. If you accumulate 4 points and you're under the age of 18, you will get a letter in the mail from the Department of Transportation letting you know that, hey, you've accumulated 4 points. If you accumulate 3 more, you are subject to a license suspension. Definitely not something that you want. So if you pick up an offense, and in Kentucky, let's go, let's break these down. So traffic violations are divided, into 2 categories. You have your moving violations, you have your non-moving violations. By the way, if you like this video, if you like this channel, if you like me talking, don't forget to hit that like button, comment below, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell if you haven't already, so you know next time I go live and are notified when new videos are going to be posted. So moving violations, of course, we all know, ignoring road signs, and changes in traffic lights, driving too close, driving too fast or too slow, failing to use a turn signal. Those are all moving violations. Thank you, Thomas Robinson, for the $5 dono. Really appreciate it, brother. Normally I would say I have my cup of coffee for tomorrow, but unfortunately I quit that too. So now I don't drink alcohol. For those of you who are regulars, like Richard the Lion, F. Lotog, I know if you're still in here, you know this. I don't drink alcohol, and now I don't drink coffee either. So I guess this $5 will have to go towards a bag of chips, a large bag of chips, because 5 pounds I think is slightly over $5 if memory serves. But non-moving violations. So we talked about moving violation examples. Non-moving violations are, of course, mostly parking. Parking and defective equipment. If your muffler is dragging on the highway, or you have a door that doesn't fully shut that is kind of protruding out and potentially could be hazardous to other motorists. Parking in front of a fire hydrant, parking in a no parking zone on an expired meter. Those are non-moving violations. You do never get any points for those. Those are impossible to accrue points on. However, for moving violations, you do. And violations are divided in the following manner pursuant to the Kentucky administrative regulations. We do have 0-point violations. 0-point violations are if you're speeding 10 miles an hour or less, convicted of speeding 10 miles an hour or less in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So at 11, you will be getting points. We'll talk about that in a minute. 10, 9, 8, etc., no points. Or if you're convicted of driving 15 miles per hour or more in a commercial vehicle, but in another state. So those are 0-point violations. 3-point violations, there's only one, and that is speeding 15 miles per hour or less over the limit. Or excuse me, that's the first one. I apologize. 3-point violations, they're the most of, excuse me, the three-point violations. Let me pull the list up so that I can give you a better indicator of, here we go. So the 3-point violations are, we're not going to go through the whole list, but failure to yield, driving in the wrong way on one-way street, careless driving, improper driving, whatever that means, improper start when you gas it from a non-moving position, improper lane change, failure to illuminate headlights, failure to dim headlights. All of those will result in a 3-point violation. A combination of 2 or more violations of motor vehicle laws in one occurrence is a 6-point violation for those 3-pointers. That also includes if the violation is 4 or 5. Example of 4-point violations are vehicle not under control. Again, you would have to read the statute to figure out what that means, because to me that is nonsensical mumbo jumbo. Following too close is a 4-point violation. Failure to yield to an emergency vehicle, driving on the wrong way, on the wrong side of the road is a 4-point violation. Reckless driving, a very common occurrence, a very common charge in Kentucky. And by the way, reckless driving means different things in different states. If you are convicted of reckless driving in Kentucky, Kentucky looks at reckless driving and careless driving and speeding almost like kind of like it's the same thing. Not the same in other states. Our 2 sister states, Indiana to the north, Tennessee to the south, and Georgia to the south. Actually, I take it back. I don't know 100% about Tennessee, but definitely I know Georgia and definitely I know Indiana. Reckless driving is looked at almost synonymously with DUI. So, and I've learned that because I've had clients both from Indiana and Georgia who got tickets in Kentucky, and we were able to amend their DUI charge to a reckless driving, and that was almost worse for the record. So we had to go back and ask the court to amend it even further to a careless driving with the prosecutor's agreement. And the problem with doing that in a courtroom setting is you have to know who your client is. You have to know what state they're from, because that amendment in Kentucky, amending a DUI to a reckless driving is a godsend. I mean, that's just the most holiest of holy that you could ask for, as a short of a dismissal, of course, or a not guilty. Once the prosecutor realizes they have some problems with their case, they're willing to amend it to reckless driving. Only a couple of times did I refuse a reckless driving charge and fought for more when I truly knew that I had it. But typically, once you receive that amendment to reckless driving in Kentucky, you kind of realize the battle is won, and usually the client will be more than happy to accept that deal. They will take it, and that will be the end of the case. But if they hold a Georgia license or an Indiana license, you got a problem. Because Indiana, for instance, has this thing called a habitual traffic violator, I think it's called, an HTV. And a habitual traffic violator is someone who receives 3 traffic offenses within a period of 10 years, I believe. And reckless driving is one of them. DUI is the other, and I believe there are a few others. But primarily those 2, DUI and reckless driving. So you could, in theory, get a DUI conviction, let's say in Indiana, and then pick up 2 DUIs, one after the other, in Kentucky, get them amended down to reckless driving. And HTV, by the way, habitual traffic violator, is a class 6 felony in Indiana. Class 6 felony in Indiana. So your 1 DUI and the 2 DUIs were amended down to a reckless, or even if they weren't DUIs and they were amended, let's say you were just charged with reckless driving and convicted of the same, you will now be automatically charged for your 3 strike. It's the 3 strike rule, essentially, is what it is. For your 3 strikes, you're now going to get a letter from DOT saying you are now charged with a brand new offense that you because of the offenses you've accumulated, not even points. So Indiana goes a step further. I believe we have something in Kentucky like that. I've never seen it implemented. So if it exists, it only exists on paper. I've never seen anybody get any type of offense like that, or any type of charge, or any type of letter of that sort here in Kentucky, which is God bless. Let's keep it that way. Going back to the point system, improper passing is 5 points. That's the only 5-point penalty violation. Failure to stop for a church or school bus, speeding 16 over but less than 26 over, so 16 to 25, are both 6-point violations. They're absolutely the highest. So failure to stop for a church or school bus is 6 points, and speeding 16 to 25 is a 6-point violation. Now, there are some much more serious offenses which carry mandatory suspensions. They are racing, speeding 26 miles or greater, and attempting to elude law enforcement officer with a motor vehicle. Those all carry a mandatory, and I put it in quotes and you'll realize why in a second, 90-day suspension. So all the ones I talked about, let's go back to our 2 categories, right? If you're under 18, all those points I just talked about, as soon as you accumulate 4, you get the letter. And as soon as you accumulate 7, you will receive the letter of suspension. Now, that doesn't mean that your license is suspended. And by the way, if you're over the age of 18, you have the right to accumulate 12 points, and you get the letter at the 7-point mark. So once you have accumulated 12 points within 2 years, or 7 points within 2 years if you're under 18, you will be subject to a 6-month suspension. Okay, so I'm confusing myself. So let's go back. The 3 offenses that I mentioned, racing, speeding 26 or more, or attempting to elude a police officer, those are all automatic letters sent out. You're looking at 90 days of not having your license. However, if you pick up, let's say, 2 16 miles per hour over the speed limit, you're over the age of 18, that's 12 points. You get the letter. If you accumulate points within 2 years, that's a 6-month suspension. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that you automatically lose your license. They will give you a hearing date. The Department of Transportation will give you a hearing date for which you must appear in order to contest your license suspension. If you don't show up, they just suspend it for the 90 or the 6 months. I very strongly recommend you hire an attorney to go to these. I have done lots and lots and lots of them. And if you follow my advice, you will be successful in defending it, if you will. It really is a very simple process. I will not be revealing my secrets on stream because, of course, this is a moneymaker for the attorneys. So, unfortunately, if you do get caught with this, you definitely want to call me up. And besides, even if I did tell you what the quote unquote secret recipe was, there's still no guarantee. You'll still botch it. I guarantee that you will botch it because, number one, I'm familiar with the system way more than you are. The hearing officer, when they see me in the room, their demeanor immediately changes. I know a lot of these hearing officers myself personally, so when they see me in the room, they already know that they're in good hands, and the client is in good hands, and the hearing officer is in good hands. I mean, I had one tell me a few months back how she had a lawyer come in, and they just started arguing and fighting her on every little thing. And guess what? The client ended up losing their license and getting it suspended. And the lawyer hated that process. And I was like, dear God, this they were doing everything wrong. And she looked at me and she said, you're absolutely right. And this is why I like dealing with you, because you understand the process. You understand what needs to be done and how we do things. And you're following the protocol. And that's why I love dealing with you. And a lot of my clients, I knocking on wood, I don't think I've lost a single one yet. Again, it's all about how you approach it. It's all about how you approach the hearing. And if you follow my advice, if you follow what I tell you, if you allow the hearing officer to do his or her job, chances are that you will save your license. Whereas somebody sitting in your exact position with the exact same charge, with the exact same facts, without a lawyer, or who starts trying to contest their arguments, contest their facts, they will lose their license. Okay, so pay attention. It's very important that you retain counsel, and it's really not all that expensive. It's just a few $100 to go to these hearings and get your ass back on the road. So this is what happens when you accumulate points. Now let's talk about very briefly on how to avoid getting points in the first place. I mean, the obvious answer, drive carefully, right? Drive safely. So don't accumulate any tickets. But of course, that goes without saying. Let's talk about when you finally get that ticket. When you finally get that ticket, what happens? So when you get that ticket, you absolutely, positively want to call a lawyer. Okay, doesn't matter. I mean, if it's 3 miles over the speed limit, sure, you probably don't care and you're just gonna pay it and forget about it. It's no points. It's no nothing. Who cares, right? But if it's 16 miles or more, or even 11 or more, you're already looking at 3 points at 11 miles per hour over the speed limit. And at 16, you're already looking at 6 points. 6 points is a lot. You're already halfway there. I actually recently been retained on a case that is pretty much exactly what I'm talking about. The individual had 2 tickets. One was like 17 over, the other was 19 over. No big deal. But he just paid both because, using his words, he didn't have time to go to court. And I totally understand. And I asked him, why didn't you hire a lawyer? And he's like, I didn't even think about it. I just paid them. Well, that's what happens. And now he got the sting. Now he received the letter stating you have accumulated 12 points. You need to go to the hearing. He can't go to the hearing because he works. So I told him, he hired me, and I told him that I'm going to help him out. We're going to go to the hearing and see if we can save his license. So by the way, for a first 12-point accumulation violation, it's a 6-month suspension within 2 years. If you pick up 12 points again, a second time within the same 2-year period, that means you're really, really trying to rack up these points. Okay, it's not easy. I have never, ever had a case where I'm sorry, I totally missed the dono. Ryhawk, thank you so much for the $10 dono, my friend. That's gonna pay for my lunch tomorrow. Do I put together PowerPoints or notes for these shows that I could make available? No, this is mostly from memory. And I just kind of, I do this thing for a living, Rye. So I really don't have, I can put in, if you'd like, I can put in the KAR, where I'm basically getting most of the stuff from. This is the KAR. If you put this into Google and click on the top link, you'll pretty much see the definitions section. And if you scroll down, Section 3 is the serious violations I talked about. Section 4 is the penalty points, and everything else I'm talking about is kind of scattered throughout. Section 6 is the suspension. Pretty much everything I talked about is in here. So suspension, it is within a 2-year period. If you rack up 12 points again, this is section 6, you will lose your license for 1 year if you are not placed on probation, which we'll talk about in a moment. And if you do it a third time, it's going to be for 2 years. So it starts out no less than 90 days, no more than 6 months. Second time, it's 1 year. Third time, it's 2 years. Now, probation. How does probation work? Essentially, if you accumulate these points, or if you get these offenses, I am going to block this guy because he is extremely annoying. And if you're going to talk smack, you're just going to get blocked. Okay. Goodbye, John Smith. Everybody say bye to John Smith. Bye, John Smith. I don't tolerate it. So, probation. If you are 18 years of age or older, so if you're under 18 and you rack up these points, you may or may not even be subject to probation. I've yet to have a case where that happened, but you definitely don't want to just pay the ticket if you're under 18. Yeah, actually, well, you might. I take it back. Under the age of 18 who accumulates 7 or more points. I've never had this issue, so I don't have this memorized. But yeah, so you can get probation, and this is what the lawyer does. This is what I do when I go to these hearings. We don't just walk away like, thank you for saving my license, I really appreciate it. That's not how it works. They sign up for state traffic school. They have to pay for that. They have to spend 4 hours either on the internet or in a classroom setting. A couple of DOT officers that I've been in front of prefer that you do the in-person class setting rather than doing it online. Now, post-COVID, obviously, that's changed. Also, by the way, once again, a reminder, if you like this content, don't forget to hit that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell in case you haven't registered yet, so that you get notified when I go live or post new courtroom videos. So, and please speak English in the chat. I don't know what any of that says. This is a first for me. Someone is very angry at me and in the language. Can somebody please either translate that, put that into Google Translate, or interpret that if you speak? I don't. Is this Chinese? I don't think it's Japanese. Yeah, it looks Chinese to me. So if anybody wants to interpret that, you don't make money and you don't let the speech down here. Thank you, Atar81. I don't make money and I don't let the speech down here. Well, I am making money and I am making a speech down here. So I'm not really sure what you're referring to. So I'm just going to move on. So probation essentially works exactly like you think it does. It's instead of being on supervised probation with a police officer reporting to a PO, As some of you know, in criminal cases and traffic cases, it is the complete opposite. It's just you don't report to anybody. It's like informal license probation. Basically, you cannot get any tickets at all for whatever period the Department of Transportation hearing officer determines. Again, it depends on the gravity of the offense. Is it points? Is it just the 26 over? And so on and so on and so forth. The problem is you can't even get some of you may not know this, a seatbelt violation is still a moving violation. So if you, during your period of probation, which could be 6 months, 1 year, or I believe up to 2 years, if you're subject to and are placed on probation by the DOT officer, then you are going to lose your license pretty much automatically. So once you're on probation, that means you have to drive squeaky clean. So you've already won the hearing. If you're placed on probation, that's a win. You will never walk out of that room without anything. I need a moderator. Is nobody in here? B, Kim, is nobody in here? That's okay. I can moderate, but oh Lord. Okay. Let's make this guy go away. Thank you. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna eventually get you guys to join on as a mod, for sure. A lot of you have been dedicated viewers, and I really appreciate it. So maybe in today we're still good, but we're definitely going to need some more mods soon. Usually I have 1 or 2 in here. It's just today it's been a little crazy with the crazies. I guess they're all locked in their parents' basement, so they have nothing else to do, and they're trolling on my channel. But anyway, so oh yeah, we are doing. It's not next time. It's not next time, Rye Hawk. Next time we're talking about expungements. That's the next live stream. And then the live stream after that on July 25th is your canine talk. Absolutely. All right. So probation. So if you're on probation, don't get any new offenses. If you do, you'll pretty much lose your license guaranteed, because the hearing officer is not going to entertain pretty much any type of excuse at that point. A wet reckless. So Kentucky doesn't have those. A wet reckless is, if memory serves, it's basically like you drove under 0.08. You still had some alcohol in your system, but it's not a full-blown DUI. And wet reckless, because I don't practice in any states that do. Kentucky doesn't have wet recklesses. We just have reckless driving. We don't have wet recklesses or dry recklesses or whatever. I don't know the answer to that, but I believe. Let's see. What was your exact question? Is wet reckless a win? I would say it's a win in my opinion and experience. A wet reckless is a win, but and yes, thank you for the $2 dono, RJ. Driving privilege. Driving is a privilege, not a right. You don't have a constitutional right to operate a motor vehicle. It's just a privilege granted to you by Big Brother, and they can revoke it if you've been listening the last 30 minutes or so. That right can be taken away if you are not driving in accordance with the rules. So driving is not a right, Frank Hughes. It is absolutely not a right, just a temporary privilege. And if you all know, are familiar with George Carlin, George Carlin had a piece where he talks about the Bill of Rights. He actually refers to the Bill of Rights as the Bill of Temporary Privileges, which is absolutely true. Even the Bill of Rights, the 10 rights, which has been amended, an additional 17 times, the 27 constitutional rights that we enjoy, they're all temporary at the end of the day. When this country morphs into the next thing, all of that is going to be gone with it. Or as soon as you leave the land of the United States of America and step over into Canada or Mexico, they have their own Bill of Rights. You have different types of rights depending on where you are in the world. Some countries don't have rights at all. I'm sure if you step foot in Kuwait or Liberia or Samoa, you'll be very surprised as to how popular your American rights are going to be on that territory while you're located in that country. So those are a bill of temporary privileges, as George Carlin calls it, and there's a lot of truth to that. It's scary to think about. Everybody wants to say that these are rights that nobody can take away, but they can be taken away in the blink of an eye if you're not careful. And it's already been happening all across our great nation. So I'm gonna step off my soapbox here and get back to the topic at hand. And yes, we are the gatekeepers. The lawyers are the last gatekeepers of the Constitution. If not for us, your constitutional rights would have been trampled on time and time and time and time again by the prosecutors and judges who essentially run the courtrooms of America. We just come in to make sure that order is followed. So the testimony given, by the way, during these suspension hearings, they're all recorded and they must be retained for at least 60 days. So you do have a right to appeal, I believe. Again, I never had to go through that route. We're usually very successful. Like I said, I know what I'm doing. I've done these by the dozen by now. And they're very, very self-explanatory. They're very easy once you learn them as an attorney. But for you guys, of course, you want to hire the services of somebody who knows what they're doing. So if probation is not granted, of course, they'll just prepare the order to suspend your driving privilege, which will be signed by the judge, and you will lose your license for like I said, it's 90 days for those 3 offenses: the racing, speeding 26 over, or eluding a police officer in a motor vehicle, or 6 months if you've accumulated 12 points or more if you're over the age of 18, or 7 points or more if you're under the age of 18. So finally, let's talk about the flip side to all of this. So this is when you actually have points. Now, how do you avoid points in the first place? We already talked about if you drive carefully, obviously you're not going to have any traffic violations, you're not going to have any convictions, you're not going to have any points. However, let's say you do pick up a ticket and it's a nasty one, and let's call it a 19 over. It's a nasty 19 over ticket. And that carries 6 points, as we know. So you would already be halfway towards your 12, looking at the letter of suspension. So what do? Again, of course, you want to hire a lawyer just in case. Some counties in Kentucky will do something called the CATS program, or in Louisville, it's called Drive Safe Louisville. Everyone is familiar with it, I'm sure, who are from here. It's the County Attorney Traffic School program, or Drive Safe Louisville. They're basically point blank extortion programs. That's all it is. It's pure, unadulterated government, open extortion. The county receives a check for either $179 or $165 in some counties, or $195 in some other counties. And in return, they order you to go and complete a particular traffic school program that they have. Once you complete it, the case is dismissed. Literally, that's it. Now, the money, remember, it does not go to the courts. It does not go into the court system. It goes into the county attorney of the jurisdiction where you got pulled over's pocket. They pocket 100% of that money. Okay? And then they use it for whatever purposes they see fit. They can buy a new printer. They can pay salaries to their well, I doubt they would do that. I'm sure the government pays for that. So it's basically fun coupons, fun dollars that they get a chance to spend. So, but it's been contested. I don't believe it has made its way to all the way to the Supreme Court. It was in the Court of Appeals for a while. I actually don't remember what happened to that case. It was popular for a while, but it kind of fell off the radar. So some judges here in Jefferson County in Louisville actually won't even entertain if you move to get this into this program in their courtroom. They will recuse themselves and let some other judge fill in. But then but that is one way. That is one way to avoid not just the points, the entire ticket itself. So if you complete the county attorney traffic school program or Drive Safe Louisville, the case gets automatically dismissed once you complete it, assuming you, of course, pick up no new violations. So that's the county attorney traffic school program and Drive Safe Louisville. Now, let's say if you pick up a ticket that's a little heftier, like a 26 over, 100% hire lawyer, because they will not offer that to you. They can only offer state traffic school, and all it does is avoid the points, and you'll still be subject to the hearing, which you'll need the lawyer for anyway. So the best way to avoid the hearing is to hire the lawyer at the outset, have the lawyer come in, fight, negotiate on your behalf, get the ticket dropped to something less than the 26 over, and then you're not subject to the 90-day license suspension. You're not getting the 6 points. We can get you into state traffic school, and all is well. All right, there's another one. Where are these guys all coming from today? This is crazy. Give me just a moment, guys and gals. All right. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So if you, and by the way, if you want to complete the CATS program or DSL Drive Safe Louisville, it's very possible, Ryhawk. I wouldn't discount it, but it takes time, and by the time that they come back, it takes me 2 clicks to ban them. So the 15 minutes that they have to spend each time, let them. If this is the best thing that they have going for their lives, then they need a hobby. That is what they need. But regardless, where was I? So yeah, points. So points, tickets, state traffic school. So if you're completing Drive Safe Louisville or the CATS program, you're only eligible to complete that once every 2 years. It is kind of like Saturday Night Live, isn't it, Thomas? Only once every 2 years. So if you just completed that program and you pick up another ticket in the same jurisdiction, you will not be able to complete it for a period of 730 days. State traffic school, however, and by the way, if you pick up the offense, let's say you picked up an offense on January 1st, 2020, and it was a ticket for 16 over, you complete Drive Safe Louisville, ticket gets dismissed, and you pick up another offense December 31st of 2022. or 2021, I guess it would be. So you're 1 day shy. You're 1 day shy. You will not qualify. It's got to be outside of the 2-year range. It cannot be within, even though you go to court after the 2 years, it's got to be within, I'm sorry, outside the 2 years, both the charge and the conviction. However, state traffic school, you're eligible for once every 365 days in Kentucky. So, and the beauty here is, let's say you pick up a ticket, let's use the same example, January 1st of 2020, and you pick up another ticket December 31st of 2020. So you're still within the 1 year, but if you're going to get convicted after, and this is sometimes what we do, is if you're very close to that period where you are eligible for state traffic school again, we can ask the court to kick your case out, and you will, once we go into January 2021, you're now eligible for state traffic school, even though the offense was in December, and you are eligible to complete state traffic school, even though the offense was within the 365-day period. So that's very important to keep in mind. And sometimes the court will let you continue the case on your own. Sometimes they won't, and they'll tell you to hire a lawyer. It all varies on which jurisdiction you're in and who the judge is. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I talked for a lot longer than I thought I would. This is a fairly straightforward, fairly unsophisticated topic. It does have a lot of little nuances and nooks and crannies and whatnots, but for the most part, like I said, I do this for a living, so to me, it kind of comes in as second nature. Again, don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell if you haven't already, so you get notified when I go live like I am right now and post new videos. So there you have it. That's pretty much it. I'm going to open the floor up to questions. I know this is probably not a topic you may have a lot of questions about, but feel free to drop your questions in the comment section of the live chat. I'm more than happy to answer and indulge your questions. And thank you again for the donations. We had RJ with the $2, Rye with the $10, and I think Richard. Yeah, Richard donated £5. So thank you all for the donations. Is jurisdiction one of the elements of a crime? It is not, Ken Huddleston. Or Ken Huddleston, excuse me. Jurisdiction is not an element of the crime. It is something that is underlying the crime, and the prosecutor has to prove that the offense was committed within the county that the crime is alleged to have occurred in, or the traffic violation in our case. And if he cannot show and prove that the offense occurred within the confines of the county limits, then he will lose the case on those grounds. And jurisdiction can be challenged at any point, by the way, in both in federal and state cases. I think even after the case is over. It's one of those rare ones. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, no, it's all right. People are going to be people. It is what it is. I'm not butthurt over it. No problem, Red Rex. I'm always happy to do these videos. Dave asks, have you heard of multiple states offering state driving schools? I know most have a local one, but not a state. So yeah, I mean, Kentucky has both. You have the local one and then you have the state one. One thing I didn't really talk about is crossing state lines. So it gets really weird. It gets really weird when you pick up like a traffic violation in Kentucky and you live and you have an Indiana license or something like that, which is like one of the most common ones I get since Indiana is right across the bridge. If you do that, you will be eligible for state traffic school, but Indiana gets to decide. So what happens is Kentucky sends the letter, Indiana gets the letter, and then Indiana decides do they send you to the state traffic school or they don't. And they can always opt and say no, and just not give you points. So you kind of win. You don't have to complete state traffic school. You're not getting any points, and this ticket is staying on your Kentucky record. Sometimes Indiana will adopt it. Sometimes they won't, but it all varies. It's very hairy. Thank you, FTP, for the $2 dono, and Dave, really appreciate it, man. He says, learn something new again. Thanks, Gatekeeper. LOL. Thank you, Dave. Really appreciate it, brother. For the $20 dono. That's awesome. Pays for another lunch on Monday. Let's see if we have any other questions. Thank you for the compliments, dear Lord. Okay, all right, Mike. Settle down, Husky. Do judges get a cut of the fine, Dave? No, absolutely not. That goes into the pot of the court system. Sir, we are about to die says, I called a lawyer for the speeding. The gal wanted $200 and stated she would either remove points or get the fine lowered. There you go. So, and the fines range, by the way, the one thing I haven't really talked about, fines do range from $20 to $100 for most tickets. Reckless driving does carry $200 maximum. And those are all negotiable. I mean, we can bring them down to $0. So that saves you money right there. And of course, it's invaluable if we get them dismissed or avoid the points, because then your insurance doesn't go up and you're saving way more than the $200 that you just paid. I mean, you're saving hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, especially when it comes to a DUI offense. If I've got a client in a municipality that doesn't offer driving school, but the county does, can you stipulate an appeal to circuit court and then get driving school? Asks BJ Tingle. So, okay, hold on. Let's break it down. Municipality that doesn't offer driving school, but the county does, that would never happen. Because Kentucky State Traffic School is always available no matter which county you're in the state. So the reverse could happen. The county doesn't offer it. So you would not be eligible for the county county attorney traffic school program, but you will be eligible for Kentucky State Traffic School if you haven't done it already within the 365-day period. How long can the police follow you before they have to do something? It varies. Sometimes they'll follow you just to wait for you to commit a violation, James Mack. And once you commit the violation, they'll pull you over. Right, Hawk. I'm sorry. I'll call you Ryan. I'll remember that. All right, Ryan. Let's see. I have to ban this guy too. I thought you were cool, Mike. I thought you were cool. F Lotog, thank you for the $5 dono. Any good book recommendations that deal with our rights, case law, police powers, etc.? Looking forward to our upcoming K9 talk. Any books that deals with our rights, case law, and police powers? Let me get back to you on that. I actually don't think I have any off the top of my head. But I'll get back to you. Let me get back to you on that. Oops, I didn't mean to hide your message, Easy Breeze. Love Lane on the Beat Montez says, I noticed in your cross-examinations that you take the same question and will ask it in a different way to get an answer that may not match up with the first. Well done, very strategic. Oh, I thought there was a question there. Thanks, Love Montez. If it goes to Indiana, you're screwed. Take my word on that, Ryan. I believe that. What about traffic violations in construction zones? I did not talk about that, Richard Stoltz. Fines are doubled across. I think this is a rule like across the country, definitely in Kentucky. whatever the points are, whatever the fine is, everything is doubled in construction zones because it's more hazardous. I mean, you're putting people at risk who are working in the road, and if you lose control of a vehicle, it's not just you and potential other drivers on the road getting hurt, but also people in construction zones doing the construction. Thomas Robinson, yes, I know everyone's been asking any more videos being made soon. I just don't have any because the courts, although open, we're all doing them virtually, and jury trials are not even in session right now. Jury trials will presumably resume on August 1st if everything goes well and the Kentucky Supreme Court doesn't change their mind and extend the closure and the non-allowance of jury trials past August 1st. I heard in Kentucky, let's see, police think they can follow you. Yes, they can follow you as long as they want and just wait for you to screw up. What is the degree to the right of you? This one or that one? This one is my Bachelor of Arts, and that's my law school. So this is when I graduated college, and this one is when I graduated law school. And that one right there, that's my license to practice law. Those are basically the three main education ones. So once I graduated college, once I graduated law school, and that one is when I became a licensed attorney. Everything else are various awards, some paid for, others honorary that I received as an attorney. Are police allowed to follow you, or is it harassment? Yeah, they're allowed to follow you as long as they want. Why, thank you, Nick. I really appreciate it. Any chance you can tell us about Daubert-Frye and standardized field sobriety test? That is a topic, a whole topic in and of itself, Dave. We will not be talking about that today. Thank you, Dacine. And you're welcome, Darla. No problem. Good luck on your case. Quick and speedy trial. By the way, some people ask, do I file speedy trial motions? In Kentucky, no. They're so easy to be. They're so easy to like fall into. They're useless. I've never filed a speedy trial motion because I don't think that they're necessary. And in Kentucky, they don't really apply in my book the way that I practice law. Because as soon as you file it, I mean, you got to remember it's a double-edged sword. If you file it and the judge does schedule a trial date, now you're locked in, and now you have to try the case. Now, what if the client decides to renege and doesn't pay the fee? Because I'm not all money up front. My clients are on payment plans. If they change their mind, and if you may not be ready, so many things could go wrong. In Kentucky, we have a right to jury trial to so many offenses. You can try a speeding ticket to 6 men and women in Kentucky. It is insane, and I love it. Absolutely love it. So I don't want to test it. I don't want to, throw fuel on any fire. I just let it ride. And I think, yeah, YouTube takes a portion of the donations. I mean, it is what it is. I don't care. And I'm only licensed to practice law in Kentucky, yes. But I do take cases out of Kentucky and Indiana as well, because I can pro hack Vici into Indiana. Do I get to choose bench versus jury trial? Absolutely. Yeah, that's the defense's prerogative. And Usually on a DUI case, I will opt in for a jury trial unless we have a pure question of law, which typically when I have a pure question of law, prosecutors know me well enough that I'm probably going to win. So they'll dismiss or amend those cases. Not always, but usually. But I've never had to prove a question of law to a judge. I usually just file a suppression motion. And if we win, then the case gets dismissed anyway. Usually, not always, but 9 times out of 10 it will. And bench trials, I mean, speeding tickets, I'll usually take to a bench trial. But sometimes I'll do a jury. I don't think I've actually ever done a speeding ticket jury trial yet, but I will be doing that. F. Lotog, thank you for the $5 dono, man. I really appreciate that. Thoughts on Breonna Taylor shooting? Thoughts on the fact police charged her boyfriend after he shot at them? I talked about this, F. Lotog, if you remember, on a previous live stream, so feel free to check that out. I don't want to dive. It's a hairy topic. I don't want to dive into it today. But if you want to watch the live stream from 3 weeks ago, I think it was. It's titled "Riots: Where's Our Qualified Immunity and Where's Our Country Headed?" I believe. So you'll be able to hear my thoughts there. Did I go to DUI defense school? Yeah, actually I did. I'm a member. We had a seminar, a virtual seminar yesterday and today. So I technically did go to DUI defense school. RJ Scum asks, what happens if a cop is following you and you pull over and call him out? I'm not really sure what you would accomplish. He'll probably then definitely turn the lights on and ask why you pulled over, because you're calling actually yourself out, saying that you're scared that he's following you, in my opinion. What is the typical cost for you to defend a jury trial? Robert asks. Robert Chartrand. It varies. It varies from depending on if it's a first offense, second, third, or fourth offense, DUI, which are the most common offenses that I take to jury trial. Of course, excuse me, a fourth offense is going to be a circuit court case, so you're going to have a jury of 12, and I'm going to have one of those coming up in a couple of months, so that's going to be good. Again, don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell if you haven't already so you get notified when new videos finally start rolling out and when I go live. Can cops run your tag if you haven't done anything wrong? Yes, they can, just to make sure that it's not expired or anything like that, VB. But roving stops are not okay. They can't just pull you over because they feel like it. I do want to practice in Indiana. Yeah, why not? It's right there. I know it's horrible, but I'll practice there. Which do I have a better chance of winning, jury or bench trial? It's a loaded question. It all depends. Depends who the judge is, depends what the case is, depends what the facts are. Are we arguing questions of fact, question of law? Thanks, James. Yeah, the talk on qualified immunity was very fun. I really enjoyed that. All right, so it looks like, oh, there's we go. There's one more question at the bottom here. Thomas Robinson, why do the cops always think the person who is driving has been drinking? Why do they think that? Well, to them, it's money to your pocket as the cop. They get awards for those sorts of things. They get raises and bonuses to the department. So for them to claim you're under the influence doesn't even have to be drinking. Any type of under the influence, you will be, even if you're not, and they just pretend like you are and suspect that you are. Just the fact that they have an arrest for a DUI that later gets dismissed, it doesn't matter. It's sick. It's money in their pocket, and it's very unfortunate. Oh Lord, I think this is definitely a return customer. Goodbye. Where was I now? I lost my place. Is computer evidence hearsay? It depends on what you're trying to introduce, Junior Alexander. Do I must answer the questions of police, Yusuf? Absolutely not. As I said on this channel time and time again, shut your frickin' mouth. Keep silent. Don't answer questions. Don't volunteer evidence. Don't give yourself out. Don't give yourself away. Robert Chartrand, really, thank you. I think I answered your question. I got a dono. That's awesome. $5, man. Thank you so much. They'll pay for a drink or two. And it is revenue, exactly. Why not take the DWI test to prove innocence? Michael Yanucci Jr. is asking. Why not take the DWI test and prove yourself innocent? Well, I'll give you 2, maybe even 3 reasons. Number 1, the field sobriety tests are designed for failure. They don't test sobriety at all. They just test how good you can do a subjective test, tested and graded subjectively by an individual who is out to get you. Good luck with that. You're going to lose 100% of the time, unless they're incompetent, which then they're going to lose anyway. But how often does that happen? In Kentucky, sometimes, but some states, probably not. The breath test, inaccurate. Sometimes they'll make you blow several times with no video. Go and prove that. You would have been a 0.04, 0.03, 0.02, but you blew 3 times and they stack. The alcohol molecules stack inside the tube. They go inside the machine. You are now a 0.096. Go prove your innocence, even though you had 1 beer. Good luck with that. How do you do it? It's very difficult, nearly impossible. The machine by itself may not be accurate, may be poorly calibrated. Blood samples, here's number 3. They screw it up. They don't follow the paper trail properly. They may be testing a blood test tube from somebody else and not even realizing that they're not testing yours, and then they mark the number for whatever other person's blood that they had on there, that they put in the gas chromatographer that tests the headspace for the alcohol concentration by the machine, and it's not even your blood, and now you're being charged with a 0.13 DUI when you had 1 drink, and there's no way in hell you could have had that high a number. So here you go, 3 reasons as to why not to do any of the DWI tests to prove innocence. They're not designed to prove your innocence. They're designed to trip you. So that's why you refuse everything, always. And Ryan, no, I can't just practice in Indiana, but I do take Indiana cases. I do have a lawyer in my firm who's licensed in Indiana, so they do my Indiana work. Asking a cop if he got an award during trial, it's a dangerous question, because the cop will usually lie and say, no, I never have, even though I may have proof that he did. But that is attacking the officer as a person rather than the evidence of the case. There could be a bunch of relevancy questions. Again, it's a dangerous. You do not want to step into that territory unless you literally have nothing else. So in which case you probably shouldn't be trying the case in the first place. And you're absolutely right, Dave, on your comment. Who makes the rules? Exactly. Chris P. Bacon. The cop makes the rules. You can't win. So doing the field sobriety test is pointless. Do you need a medical excuse from a doctor's note not to do field sobriety tests? Just tell the cop, James. You can tell the cop, hey, I can't, I have a bad knee. I cannot do field sobriety tests for you. And if he makes you do them anyway, which a lot of times they, well, that's okay. That's fine. Oh, you have a bad knee. That's no problem. I'm not going to hold it against you. Yes, he will. I'm not going to hold it against you. Just go ahead and complete the tests, and we'll see what happens. And then they do it, and they botch everything. And of course, in the citation, does it say that the client said he has a bad knee? Oh, absolutely not. It'll just say he stepped off the line, he missed heel to toe, here, and here, and he screwed the entire test up and got the officer believes he was under the influence in his own subjective mind. And the Indiana lawyer, I don't know if they have cameras in Indiana, actually. If they do, then he might, but Eagle J, did I actually graduate from law school? What a snobby question. I thought I answered that already in one of my somebody else asked me that the other day. I don't know why this is coming more and more prevalent. Yeah, I graduated from the Hawaii Pentecostal School of Law and Barbecue, Tires Fixed also. That's where I graduated from. Jennifer Schaefer is tired. Go to sleep, Jennifer. It's already late. It's 8 p.m. Maybe it's past your bedtime or something. I don't know. In Rhode Island, would I just refuse? I would, again, I don't have a license to practice law in Rhode Island, so I can't give you legal advice there, but I would suggest you talk to a local lawyer who specializes in DUI over there to tell you whether or not, because some states, refusing everything is not the proper way to go, where you, like in Nebraska, I know Nebraska is one of them. All right, so it looks like we are not getting any more questions, and we've been going for a good hour or so, hour and 20 minutes if you count the 15-minute introduction that we had. So I thank you all once again. It's good to be back. I didn't stream last week because it was 4th of July, so we had a stream at the end of June, and we will be holding our next stream on July 18th, which is next Saturday, same time, 6:30 p.m. I think over the next few live streams, so I need topics, and I will be probably setting up some sort of poll or something for you guys for topics in the future. So I really appreciate you all coming. Next Saturday at 6:30 p.m., July 18th, we will be talking about a very, very hot topic, which I think you all will very much enjoy. It's expungements. We will be talking about expungements, which is a very, very interesting, very hot topic. And then Ryan and I think F. Lotog, both I know are very much looking forward to it. But Ryan is the one who suggested canines. So we'll be talking about canines on July 25th. And then August 1st is still up for grabs. So if you all have a topic, by all means, feel free to share it in the comments section of the post that I will make probably in the next week or so. Yeah, don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Yeah, I think it's the same person that keeps coming back. So thank you all very much for joining me once again. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun. I think I did a Daubert topic. I had to take it down because I feel I revealed a little too much in that one, because I had a case pending and I had to take it down. But I may do an expert one again at some point. So again, thank you all so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. You all have yourself a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Saturday, and I will see you all next week. Same time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. Take care, everybody. Peace. Stay safe. Bye-bye.